Why would Tomoko's cousin dress her up, then leave her outside the store? Turns out there was a reason, a really bad one. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon. Wherever you're from, we're still catching up to Watamote until we've mostly caught up. So sit back, relax, and maybe grab a warm cup of tea. And let's see what happened after the anime. Last time, Tomoko wrote crude Tanabata wishes, drowned herself in perfume so bad it threw off the whole class, and watched Yu feel like the odd one out in a friendship she'd put together herself. Today, summer really kicks off with a visit to Tomoko's cousin, Kii-chan. Chapter 58 opens with Tomoko making herself a real promise. This summer, unlike last year, she's going to be good. There's just one catch. Break doesn't start until the 21st. So she decides the 19th and 20th don't count and spends both days doing nothing at all. She crawls into bed with her two stuffed toys and doesn't come back up until 6:30 that evening, just in time to watch the sunset, at which point she decides to spend the next 24 hours just having fun instead. First up, dinner. Her mom's making teppanyaki, which Tomoko asked for. After that, she spends the whole night watching Let's Play videos and clicking around online. She wakes up the next morning in a great mood, happy to hear birds on her way to the corner store for coffee, already thinking about more videos and ice cream when she gets back. On the way out, she runs into her brother Tomoki, who has no idea why she's up this early. After a full day of doing nothing, Tomoko lies in bed smiling, content, and tells herself that tomorrow, for real, she'll get to work. Then her mom hands her the phone, a classmate calling her to say that the whole class has to show up at school at 9:30 the next morning to cheer for the baseball team. Tomoko is crushed. Her answer isn't to deal with it, it's to stay up, gaming all night out of spite, and show up the next morning in the worst state she can manage as a one-person protest. A slight bit of a spoiler here, the voice on the phone calling Tomoko about the baseball game, the classmate she never sees, just hears, is Asuka Katou. Let's just say that a few years down the road in the real world, she'll end up in Tomoko's orbit, much to everyone's surprise, even herself. And that spite-fueled, sleep-deprived state is exactly what she brings to Chapter 59, which is worth flagging for a reason that has nothing to do with what's going on in it. On the bus to the game, Tomoko ends up next to a girl who looks like a smiley emoji. Keep this feature of hers in mind. This girl spends the whole ride chatting with friends behind her. Tomoko, feeling left out, decides to ignore her right back and just sleeps through the ride. At the stadium, Tomoko's bored stiff. She's in her head the whole time, going on tangents about the players and has to duck fast to dodge a foul ball, which she takes as proof that baseball itself knows what she's been thinking and goes to hide in the back. Back there, she hears some guys talking about the cheer squad and follows along. True to form, she ends up staring at the wrong thing. She then follows a group of girls who won't stop talking about some cute guy, only to be let down when she sees him. Then, she trails a bunch of guys talking about the girl instead. But at this point, she's been out in the sun, on no sleep, and she's starting to go red. She spends the next 2 hours just cursing at the players and swearing she'll never do this ever again. When the game ends and people start to leave, Tomoko folds into a bush near the exit. A baseball player sees this happen. She wakes up, packed in ice, in the first aid room, with the doctor telling her teacher Ogino she had a mild heat stroke. Ogino, reading it all wrong, walks out with her after and phrases what she assumes was really passionate cheering. Tomoko finds out, almost by chance, that one of the players carried her to the first aid room. On the ride back in the baseball club's van, she ends up in the back. In front of her, one team manager quietly comforts another who's crying, and the one next to Tomoko is just kind to her the whole ride. By the end, Tomoko feels like she ought to come back and do this again next year. Now that's a nice quiet ending to a very chaotic chapter. After all of it, it's a small act of kindness from someone Tomoko doesn't even know that stays with her. Anyway, Tomoko goes home from that still running on no sleep and a weird sense of debt to a stranger she'll never see again. And then summer properly starts. Chapter 60 is where Tomoko's cousin Kii-chan comes into the story, and this whole chapter works on one slow building funny idea. Now, Tomoko's mom drops her off at Kii-chan's place for a few days. Right away, Kii-chan takes her upstairs and gives her a full makeover. New dress, new hair, with the story just asking, isn't there something off about this? Kii-chan hands her a nice dress and tells her she'll need to look like a proper lady. Tomoko says she already is one, but Kii-chan just smiles and tells her to put it on. While Kii-chan is getting ready, Tomoko spots a stack of fashion magazines with pages marked. One of them is a reader column where someone called Kei is asking about their older sister, who has no boyfriend and spends her time playing with kids much younger than her. Kii-chan comes back and does Tomoko's hair in 2 loops that look like dog ears, then takes her out in public so everyone can see how cute she looks. That's when it hits Tomoko. Kii-chan is treating her like a pet. In one last try to get some ground back, she dares Kii-chan to a sumo match. Kii-chan just looks at her, smiles, and says, "Don't wanna." That's the end of that. At the park, Kii-chan puts Tomoko's hand on the railing and tells her to wait while she steps away. And Tomoko knows right away this is exactly what you do when you tie a dog up outside the shop. Looking around, she sees other girls nearby getting chatted up by guys and realizes, with growing dread, that Kii-chan basically put her on display the same way. She spots Kii-chan watching from a shop door the whole time. Kii-chan comes back looking a little sad and tries to make her feel better by saying the guys at the park just had bad taste, which Tomoko takes as an insult since the whole dog thing is still very fresh. To get some of her pride back, Tomoko shows off her perfume, and Kii-chan just gently fixes her method, then ups it by teaching her how to apply makeup too. Later on, Kii-chan takes her to the summer fair. Tomoko keeps trying to show off and get some respect back throughout the night, but it keeps landing wrong, and Kii-chan ends up having to scold her for it. They stop at the shrine to make wishes, and Tomoko, still sore, quietly wishes a small curse on Kii-chan. Almost right after, Kii-chan trips on a rock and drops her hair clip. When Kii-chan can't find it, Tomoko drops on all fours and sniffs it out by the perfume scent. Kii-chan is touched and tells her something that changes how the whole chapter reads. The clip belonged to her dog, Purin, who passed away. She clips it onto Tomoko's hair, and Tomoko just stands there, taking in the fact that she's been filling in the spot of Kii's late dog this entire time. So Tomoko goes to bed that night as Kii's replacement dog, with a dead pet's hair clip in her hair. And because she is who she is, her response to all of that is to try to scare Kii-chan with a horror movie. Chapter 61 is Kii-chan getting her own back, and it's great. That night, Tomoko shows Kii-chan a scary video, and right when Kii-chan's fully into it, Tomoko jumps up and yells, "Boo!" She teaches her about it, but Kii-chan just says, very calmly, that they should finish watching the rest of the video. When they go to bed, Kii-chan's lying there wide awake with a small smile on her face. That should have been a warning. The next morning, Kii-chan suggests watermelon on the porch. Tomoko says yes. They settle in with tea and fruit, and Kii-chan brings up the 8-foot woman for the video they watched. Then, she excuses herself to use the bathroom. Left alone, Tomoko relaxes into the view until she spots an actual 8-foot woman peering over the hedges. The figure stops, looks right at her, then keeps moving. Tomoko's shaking on the porch when the figure suddenly looms right over her. It's Kii-chan, of course, holding an 8-foot puppet, a big scarecrow rig, cheerfully asking if she got her. She comes back to find an empty chair and a spilled glass of tea instead. She waits. Tomoko shows up a bit later, no pants, face kept out of the frame, and launches into this very calm, very serious talk about the line between safe pranks and harmful ones. She asks Kii-chan, dead serious, how she would feel if a prank like that gave someone a heart attack and made them wet themselves. Kii-chan says she'd feel sad, then asks right out if Tomoko wet herself. Tomoko says no, it's a thought test. Kii-chan asks why she has no pants on. Tomoko explains the prank scared her so bad she spilled her tea on them. Kii-chan points out gently that the tea spilled on the floor, not on her. Tomoko, not missing a beat, argues that if she drank tea and some of it later came back out through her bladder, that still counts as tea. Kii-chan, clearly just trying not to make things worse, says sorry and lets it go. The chapter ends on Tomoko's face, fully shown at last, still stunned at her own logic. So Tomoko has now been treated like a dog, scared half to death, and talked her way out of it using tea logic. One more day left with Kii-chan, and chapter 62 is how the visit ends, which turns out to be the best part of the whole trip. Tomoko's mom calls to say she'll be picked up the next day, so Kii-chan suggests ice cream for their last morning. The shop's too far to walk though, so Kii-chan brings out 2 bikes. And it turns out Tomoko can't ride one. She tells herself all the bike anime she's watched should carry over into real skill. She gets on and falls right off. To save face, she says she's just rusty since it's been so long. Kii-chan offers to help her learn. Tomoko tries to push back with a half-formed argument about bikes and adult content that Kii-chan doesn't follow at all. Kii-chan just insists, and Tomoko gives in. She practices, with Kii-chan running behind, holding the rack, and tells her firmly not to let go, even as a joke. Kii-chan lets go anyway, and Tomoko keeps going for a moment before she clocks that she's on her own. After a few more falls, they both agree that learning to ride in one day just isn't going to happen. As Kii-chan starts to walk away, Tomoko, annoyed that her holiday got taken over by bike lessons, decides to run into her on purpose. She warns Kii-chan just before impact. Kii-chan steps aside, and Tomoko just keeps rolling downhill on her own, somehow fine. Kii-chan cheers and tells her if she'd pedaled it would have been perfect. Tomoko tries, and it works. She asks if she can ride a bit further on her own. Kii-chan says, go ahead. She rides off, and for a moment, she just feels free. That night, back at Kii-chan's, they watch a show about a middle schooler who biked across all of Japan in 2 days. The next morning, Kii-chan wakes up to a long text from Tomoko saying she's going to bike all the way home to test a skill most people don't have, signing off that she hopes to see Kii-chan next year. Kii-chan reads this and has a feeling it will be sooner than that. And it is! Not long after, Tomoko's mom shows up at Kii-chan's door again, pushing Tomoko's head into a deep bow while saying she's sorry to Kii-chan's mom. Still somehow proud of herself, Tomoko turns to Kii-chan and spins a story about having plenty of energy left but stopping because her backside hurt too much. So she called her mom for a ride. Kii-chan just looks at her with quiet pity and decides she's going to have to teach her cousin a few more things the next time that they meet. Now that was funny start to finish, but there was something real under all of it too. By the end, Tomoko learned a real skill, felt free for a moment, and even though she trips herself up right after, Kii-chan's quiet look reads more like care than anything else. You could argue this whole visit is the first real seed of Tomoko not wanting to be alone. Not the boredom of summer, but the quick, real taste of what it's like to have someone in her corner. Between the heat stroke, a few days as someone's replacement pet, and actually learning to ride a bike, this chunk of summer gave Tomoko more than she planned for, but the real mess hasn't even started yet. Next time, summer break goes full throttle, for better or worse. If you like this, please leave a like and maybe subscribe. It helps the channel a lot. Come back next time as we keep catching up with Watamote. Take care and go out there and make the world a slightly better place.